Hello, everyone. Welcome to Celsius 233, your go-to place for fiction book summaries. Today, we will unravel the story within Crome Yellow by Aldous Huxley. Crome Yellow by Aldous Huxley, published in 1921, is a sharp and satirical exploration of post-World War I English society. Set in a country estate, the novel chronicles the conversations and experiences of a group of eccentric guests as they reflect on art, love, morality, and the absurdities of modern life. With its witty prose and insightful critique, Crome Yellow showcases Huxley's early literary brilliance and establishes themes he would revisit in later works. Plot summary. The train stopped with a jolt at Camlet-on-the-Water, where Denny Stone alighted with his bicycle and scattered belongings. 23 years old, painfully self-aware, and given to brooding over his artistic inadequacies, Denny's had been invited to Crome, a grand estate in the English countryside. As he pedaled up the hill toward the house, his spirits lifted, momentarily soothed by the gentle undulations of the green hills and the golden warmth of the day. The house itself, basking in sunlight, loomed with austere beauty, its red brick facade rising above dark hues. Inside the great house, Denny's encountered his host, Henry Wimbush, a man whose passion for history was rivaled only by his passionless demeanor. Henry, calm and methodical, seemed to float above the frivolities of the guests he hosted, content in the quiet company of his wife, Priscilla. Priscilla, however, was anything but quiet. A vivid and eccentric woman with a penchant for astrology and gambling, she occupied herself with casting horoscopes and wagering on the races, lending an air of flamboyant absurdity to the household. The other guests began to assemble on the terrace. Among them was Anne Wimbush, Henry's niece, a cool and self-possessed young woman whose quick wit and ironic detachment made her both alluring and maddening to Denny's. Anne's indolent grace and her tendency to amuse herself at his expense exacerbated Denny's awkward infatuation. Gombald, the darkly handsome artist, also seemed captivated by Anne, a fact Denny's noted with bitter envy. Mary Bracegirdle joined the party with her flushed cheeks and serious blue eyes, carrying with her a preoccupation with overcoming repressions. A firm believer in the liberating power of self-expression, Mary often spoke of her emotional conflicts in tones of grave importance, providing the group with no shortage of unintentional humor. Rounding out the assembly were Jenny Mullion, a deaf but sharp-eyed observer whose enigmatic smiles suggested she saw more than she let on, and Mr. Scogan, a withered intellectual whose sardonic commentary on society and its follies painted a grim vision of the future. The days at Crome unfolded like a languid performance, each guest playing their part. Breakfasts stretched into mornings, spent meandering through the grounds, or gathered on the terrace in idle conversation. Mr. Scogan would pontificate on his theories of humanity's mechanized future, foretelling a world of artificial reproduction and soulless efficiency, while Mary interjected with her urgent declarations on emotional freedom. Denny's, longing to impress Anne, often found his attempts to join the dialogue thwarted by his own shyness or by the sharp wit of Mr. Scogan. Afternoons brought excursions to the farm, where Henry delighted in showing off his prize pigs and recounting the genealogies of his livestock. The spectacle of the squealing piglets inspired Gombald to rhapsodize about the vitality of life, while Anne watched with a faintly mocking smile. Denny's, caught between admiration and resentment, struggled to assert himself in her presence. He resolved to confess his feelings, but each opportunity slipped away, undone by his hesitation or Anne's casual dismissal of his seriousness. Evenings at Crome took on a theatrical quality, with elaborate dinners followed by impromptu performances and discussions. The arrival of Mr. Barbecue Smith, a corpulent author of inspirational literature, added an extra layer of absurdity to the proceedings. With his booming voice and pompous air, Barbecue Smith proclaimed the virtues of inspiration, recounting how he would hypnotize himself into a trance to write entire chapters effortlessly. Denny's listened in quiet disbelief, his contempt barely concealed. As the days passed, Denny's grew increasingly restless. The idyllic setting of Crome, with its carefully tended gardens and sunlit terraces, seemed to mock his inner turmoil. He wandered the grounds, searching for the courage to speak to Anne. One morning, he found her seated in the flower garden, her light muslin dress glowing in the sun. He began a halting declaration of his feelings, only to be interrupted by Anne's breezy announcement that she was off to swim. Denys watched her walk away, his words still borne on his lips. Anne, meanwhile, reveled in her freedom, untroubled by the deeper longings of those around her. She flirted with Gombald, whose bold advances she neither encouraged nor rebuffed. For Anne, life at Crome was a game, and she played it with the cool assurance of someone who never doubted their ability to win. Denys, torn between hope and despair, could only watch from the sidelines, his growing sense of futility compounded by his own self-consciousness. Amid the laughter and the debates, Henry's historical lectures and Priscilla's astrological predictions, life at Crome seemed suspended, as though the outside world had ceased to exist. But the air of detachment could not last forever. A tension hung over the house, subtle but persistent, as though the characters themselves were aware of the fleeting nature of their idol. Denys, in particular, felt the weight of time pressing down on him, the awareness that he was achieving neither artistic greatness nor personal fulfillment. One evening, as the guests gathered for dinner, Denys found himself sitting next to Anne. Summoning his courage, he leaned toward her and began to speak. But Anne, distracted by Gombald's laughter across the table, turned away before Denys could finish. The moment passed, and Denys retreated into silence, berating himself for his cowardice. The next morning, the guests prepared to leave. Denys packed his belongings with a heavy heart, feeling that he had squandered his time at Crome. As he stood by the gate, his bicycle at his side, he glanced back at the house. Its red brick walls glowed softly in the sunlight, as serene and unchanging as ever. The laughter of the departing guests echoed faintly across the courtyard. Denys mounted his bicycle and began the long ride back to the station, his thoughts a tumult of regret and resolve. Crome faded into the distance, its mysteries and absurdities now a memory. The road stretched out before Denys, leading him back to the familiar routines of his life, but also, perhaps, to new opportunities for growth. The countryside rolled by, its beauty a quiet reminder that even the most fleeting of moments could hold a deeper significance. That's it for now, but don't stop here. Aldous Huxley has more stories waiting for you. Check them out in the description or on Celsius 233. Remember, while our summaries capture the essence, they can never replace the full experience of reading the book. If this summary intrigued you, consider diving into the complete story, buy the book, and immerse yourself in Aldous Huxley's original work. Bye-bye, take care, have fun.